Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video this morning I am going to be giving you my preview for the Watford Manchester United game, Vicarage Road, Sunday 2 o'clock kickoff. And obviously, we hope that we can get back to winning ways in the Premier League after dropping 2 points against Everton last week. Of course, we had a good win midweek against Colchester, winning by 3 goals to 0 in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. So obviously, it's good that we have progressed to the semi-finals of the competition. So hopefully, now we can keep this momentum up against Watford. And obviously, we need to win the game anywhere, so we can keep our hopes up for that top four. Obviously, we are currently 4 points behind top four at the moment. So you can say, we are still in that top four race. Obviously, around 3-4 weeks ago, I actually fully disregarded that top four, because I was very, very skeptical, that we was going to get it. But obviously, in recent weeks, Chelsea have been slipping up. So yeah, I still think, Manchester United can definitely get it. And there's no excuse, why we shouldn't win this game on Sunday against Watford, because obviously in the game against Colchester, Solskjaer, rested quite a few key players. Obviously he rested down Wan-Bissaka, he rested Lindelof, he rested McTominay and Fred, he rested Daniel James. So I do expect all them to be playing in the game on Sunday against Watford. And I do. And obviously, Watford themselves have enjoyed a really bad start to the season. They're obviously going to be fighting relegation this season. Obviously, they're sitting bottom of the league at the moment. Watford have only registered 9 points from a possible 17 games so far this season. They have only won one game all season of Watford, so they could actually be going down this season. Not too long ago, they recommended Nigel Pearson in as their new manager, because obviously Sanchez Flores had been sacked by Watford less than 3 months in charge. I think this is Watford's third manager this season, by the way. In the Premier League era, in total, there has been 12 encounters between Man United and Watford. We have won 11 out of 12. The only one defeat we suffered against Watford was back in September 2016. At Vicarage Road, Watford did beat us by 3 goals to 1. This fixture last season was 2-1 at Vicarage Road, 2-1 at Old Trafford. So I'm very, very confident, that we can obviously win this game. We are actually unbeaten in our last 6 games in all competitions as well. So we're hopefully looking to extend our unbeaten run. But if we win this game, we do only go 1 point behind top four. So obviously that will put more pressure on Chelsea. Also, there'll be more. When Solskjaer does his press conference, building them up to the game, I will be giving you a reaction, to some of the stuff he has mentioned during his press conference and that, So joy be on that. I think that will be. I presume that he will be doing it today. If it isn't today, I presume it will be tomorrow. He will be doing his press conference. I've been reading recent reports regarding Paul Pogba. It did say he could return for the game against Watford, Newcastle, or Burnley. Paul Pogba, of course, has been out over illness. This is why he didn't play against Colchester in the Carabao Cup on Wednesday. This is why he didn't play, because he has suffered illness, but he has initially recovered from that initial ankle injury he had, because Pogba was out with an ankle injury for around 3 months. So he hasn't basically, been in action since September. The last league game we did play was the 1-1 draw with Arsenal earlier on in the season. And this illness occurred, I think just a couple of days after he attended his brother's wedding. But I do presume Solskjaer, will provide us with an update on Paul Pogba, during his press conference. Um, he will, and he was actually not expected to return to training this week, as Solskjaer did confirm before the Everton game due to his illness. Obviously, that hasn't happened, so he has missed at least the last 2 to 3 days of training. Due to his illness. I don't think. The illness obviously is too severe and that. But when Paul probably does get back into the team, it will be very beneficial. We know the difference he does make in that midfield, and I think Solskjaer is aware of this. But I've got to say, Paul Pogba's absence, with Paul Pogba's absence, I think actually Fred has fulfilled his position fantastically well. And I thought I'd say Fred's rejuvenated himself recently in our midfield. I think him and Tom Way have complemented each other fantastically well. I've also been reading reports about Pogba, yesterday night this was, and reportedly it says that our heresy and our players are convinced that he's played his last game for Manchester United, but reportedly we are remaining ruthless over Paul Pogba. We will not allow him to leave the football club in January for Real Madrid. I do believe Paul Pogba will leave the football club next year. I'd be very sceptical that he won't leave next year, but if he doesn't leave next year, I think, we will leave him in the future, will Paul Pogba. I can't see him from now spending the entirety of his career with Manchester United and that. But Solskjaer said, when he comes back, he'll get a lot of games under his belt. It will be like a new world-class signing. Is only at the age of 26, Pogba. Still in his prime, still got a lot of years ahead of him. Around 17, 18 months left on his current contract at Man United. We do have an option to extend his contract by a further year, and he is on around 290 grand a week. So he is on a substantial amount at the football club. We also paid £89 million for him, and that he's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. In the past, during the summer. There was a lot of talks about him leaving under Jose Mourinho era. There was a lot of talks about him leaving, reflecting on his bad relationship with Jose Mourinho. But he was relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid, and I still believe that's his preference. I know there was obviously talks about him possibly going back to Turin, because he endured for good years in Turin. But yeah, now he's closer to returning to the team. He's Pogba. He's close to returning to the team. Diego Dalot is still out with injury. He's actually sustained quite a few injuries this season as Diego Dalot. You got Eric Bailly and Fosu Mensah. They've returned back to training. Solskjaer did confirm that they would this week. Bailly, of course, has been out with a knee injury. He hasn't played since pre-season. Fosu Mensah's been out with a knee injury. So it is now good anyway that more players are coming back from injury. So too Marcus Rojo. He's out with a muscle injury. I think he's out until the new year. And other players have recently come back from injury. Matic recently come back from a groin problem. He was out for a couple of months. Obviously Martial recently come back from a muscular problem, and that Luke Shaw came back from a hamstring injury. Tuanzebe came back from a hip injury. So reflect on the amount of injuries we've had this season. Anyway, Solskjaer has had to make a lot of alterations in the squad. But yes, I've got to say, the league is a priority for Man United and that. But yeah, like I said, we're unbeaten in our last 6 games and that. But we have got games coming up thick and fast. Watford on Sunday, Newcastle on Boxing Day, Burnley on the 28th, 2 days later, Arsenal on New Year's Day. Then we go Wolves. Then it's the first leg of the Carabao Cup against Manchester City in the semi-final and that. So games are coming up thick and fast. are coming up thick and fast for us. But I think we can add some silverware on the board. Definitely this season that, and don't forget recently Solskjaer has spoken about the importance of us lifting trophies. Because we have lots of silverware in the last 6 or 7 years. Um, so I think we can definitely win the Carabao Cup. I think we're definitely good enough to do that. I think we can also win the Europa League. I think we're good enough to win that because we won both trophies under Jose Mourinho era a couple of years ago, and obviously Jose Mourinho enjoyed a 2.5 year tenure at the football club, and that he's actually the longest serving manager we've had since the Alex Ferguson era. In the Europa League, obviously we've got Club Brugge. We obviously won Group L. We progressed there to knockout, so that's another route. That's another route. We can progress to the Champions League in that. But Champions League football, like I said, is very imperative, for next season, so we can attract players to the elite level. And like I've said on recent videos, reflecting on the size and the potential of this club, also take into the equation as well the amount of money that's been invested into this football club over the last 6 or 7 years in all the managerial eras. We should be much more of a commanding position than winning now. And minimum, we should be going. Minimum this season, we should be finishing in that top four. I didn't expect us to win the league this season or mount any kind of title challenge up. But I did say, didn't I expected us to enjoy a better season this season than what we saw last season, because last season was a huge disappointment. We finished sixth last season, but there's still plenty of time, to turn things around. There's still a lot of points to play for. We are nearly halfway through the season. But I said anyway, our expectations this season will be to finish in that top four. I think our aspirations will be that top four in the next couple of seasons. As you all know, yesterday it was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 1 year. It was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 1 year anniversary as Manchester United manager. And I presume that he celebrated his 1 year anniversary at the football club. And Solskjaer gave his own perception on the year he's been here, and he said it's been very enjoyable. It's gone very, very quick. And he says it's been an honour and it's been a privilege. But yeah, we obviously recommended Solskjaer in on December 19th, 2018, obviously last year. Obviously, following the dismissal of Jose Mourinho. And obviously, we got Solskjaer in as the interim manager at the first. Obviously, he was the interim manager for 3 months. And analysing that 3-month period, I thought Solskjaer did really, really well. The results were good, the performances were good, he exceeded expectations, and he got the best out of these group of players. Won his first 8 games. Then obviously we won 14 out of 19 in total in all competitions. And obviously reflecting on that fantastic win against PSG last season in the Champions League, that was enough, of course, to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job on a permanent basis. But I've got to say, PSG is probably Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moment as manager. That game against PSG, that's probably one of the best games we've had under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. Obviously, Solskjaer has been now permanent manager for 9 months, and I think one of the mistakes the club did make was obviously giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. I think in this, for the vast majority of this 9 months, it's obviously totally comparison, to what I saw in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. So I think Solskjaer's still got many expectations to exceed, in his second season at the football club and that. And I still believe that the expectations are too high for him at Manchester United. But I'm very sceptical that we'll sack him, especially at this present time. Solskjaer is on a 3-year contract with the. What are you doing?
Morning, Villa.
Morning.
A couple of hours I'm out canvassing, Villa. I'm not living like that. I'm out canvassing, Villa. Oh, well, you like a window cleaner?
Alright.
We'll go get us home fucking round.
Alright.
You know what areas?
Yeah.
Broadley Terrace, Broadley Road, Victoria Park Grove. Ganners, if was come to us, I'll go to Ganners.
Yeah.
Even them no houses there, mate, on Broadlane. I won't stop until I get somewhere.
Alright.
Got to do it. It's only love, can't live on your money. Right.
Alright. Is it light yet? Work there. He's on a 3-year contract with a football club, like I said, on like what £7.5 million pounds a year. So even if we did decide to sack him, within this 3-year period, obviously we would have to pay something in compensation, obviously, to get rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But like I've said, analysing it, this season, we have done really, really well against elite opposition, and that, we've done really, really well against the big teams, but we haven't really replicated that against the lower teams. We haven't really done that, so our record against the lower teams has to improve. But we know we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years or over 30 years. But you've got to say the wins against Tottenham and Man City have saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at the football club, because if we hadn't won many of them games, I think he would have been sacked by now. But anyway, he's been under intense pressure for the vast majority of this season. Anyway, and I think Solskjaer realises how much pressure he has been under the football club. But I think, the best games, that we have probably, had under him was the City game, Tottenham game, PSG game. I thought the Cardiff game was fantastic. Obviously, that was Solskjaer's first game in charge of the club. The first defeat we had under Solskjaer in the Premier League was the 2-0 defeat to Arsenal last season. I think probably the worst, game that we've had under the Solskjaer era is probably the 4-0 defeat to Everton last season. This was back in April. Don't forget, Solskjaer came out after that game and obviously now apologised. But so this game on Sunday against Watford is Solskjaer's 39th Premier League game in charge of the football club. But we have got a really good record under them. And like you saw my reaction, didn't you, for the Colchester game? I did it yesterday morning, and against Colchester, wasn't too good in the first half, and that there was issues in the first half. We was quite wasteful and that in front of goal. But I thought, we resolved them issues in the second half. The performance in the second half was totally comparison, to the first half, and that, scored 3 goals in 10 minutes. So we basically got the job done. Like I said, Colchester were very disciplined. Colchester didn't do anything in the game. Herrera had little to do, or not even that, I don't think he had anything to do. But the good news is, we are into the semi-finals of the competition. I thought, a lot of aspects of the game against Colchester actually, replicated the game against Alkmaar the other week, because against Alkmaar wasn't too good in the first half, but we actually revived ourselves in the second half. So we've got to try and be consistent in 90 minutes. We've got to try and play well for the full 90 minutes and that, But yeah, like I've said, the vast majority of our performances have been poor this season. We've had a lot of bad results in that. But I've got to say, recently I've seen a lot of changes. I think recently we're scoring more goals, we're creating more chances. Certain players have stepped up to the plate and that. I've got to say, Rashford's been in absolutely scintillating form. Rashford's on 14 goals for the football club this season. In total, Rashford has made he's made, I think, around 193 appearances for Man United and scored 59 goals. This is in all competitions, since he broke into the senior squad back in 2016. Rashford so far has spent the entirety of his career with Manchester United. He's been a United player since the age of 7, and like I said, he's been in the senior squad with us since 2016. Rashford's, like I said, he's done really, really well. I know he was poor earlier on this season, but even during his Lombard spell, I still said then, he's a long-term solution for Man United. But when he's on form, he's got that finishing assets. He can get them runs in behind, and he's a type of player you can rely on when he's playing well. And he's only the age of 22, so still got a lot of years ahead of him. And I think he's record against the top 6 sides is also absolutely tremendous. Obviously now he operates on the flank mainly, because obviously Anthony Martial operates in that number 9 role. So Martial plays centrally because Man United have given that number 9 shirt at the start of the season, even though Martial predominantly plays out wide, because that's his predominant position, but he's more effective in that central position. But I think in the games Martial's played in this season, he's also been a revelation. Martial has 55 goals in 190 appearances, for the club in all competitions since his arrival from Monaco back in 2015. He's just recently turned the age of 24 as Anthony Martial, but he adds more inspiration definitely in that attacking third of the pitch. He does help the likes of Daniel James and Marcus Rashford. I do believe you've got a lot of Manchester United fans, including me, saying that, we should start playing Mason Greenwood on more of a regular basis. He's actually, made a lot of substitute appearances this season in the Premier League for Man United. As far as I'm aware, I think he's only started one game from the start in the Premier League, and that was the game against Tottenham. That was only due to Anthony Martial's muscular problem he had. But I think, we should start dropping Anthony Martial a bit more, and we should start playing Mason Greenwood over him, because I think now a lot of Man United fans may believe he is a better solution. Solskjaer's give his own perception on Greenwood, and he said, it's becoming harder to drop him, and it's becoming harder to leave him on the bench. But very, very good player. Mason Greenwood is on 7 senior goals for the football club this season. The vast majority of his goals have come in the Europa League. Only at the age of 18, but I think as he develops more, he probably will end up overtaking the likes of Rashford and Anthony Martial. Greenwood, I think, plays well when he plays well when he's obviously operating in that number 9. He did actually play against Colchester, but he actually started on the right hand side. But you've got to say he is an option on that right hand side is Mason Greenwood. But I think he's definitely one of the young upcoming players that will be a success at Manchester United and that. But we've got a lot of young players in the squad anywhere that are developing and trying to improve. And Solskjaer is still looking to recruit more young players into the football club like he did do during the course of the summer. So I can assure that Greenwood, also Brandon Williams, I think he will become a success at the club. Brandon Williams is done really, really well, and I said if he keeps the consistency up, he will earn more first team promotions, and this is exactly what's happened. And we're analysing it. We've got a variety of fullbacks in our team anywhere that can be competitive, but I think Brandon Williams now is our first choice left back. I think he's actually probably a better solution than Luke Shaw, despite the fact that Luke Shaw, you can say, is still a very imperative player. I know a lot of people talk about him being injury prone and that, and he is an injury prone player. But I think prior to his injuries and prior to the bad spell he had under Mourinho, I still think Luke Shaw is a very good player, because don't forget, he won the double player of the season last season, reflecting on his impressive performances. But I like Brandon Williams. His defensive distribution's good. He can bombard forward. He shows good attacking intent. But I do like him a lot. Tuanzebe, I think in the games he's played in this season, he's also been fantastic. Got to say, I've been very, very impressed with him. But these some young players I've got element of concerns about. So this is why I did say next year it would be beneficial if we did get rid of some of the young upcoming players. I've got strong reservations about Andres Pereira. I think we've been overplaying Andres Pereira this season. Obviously he played alongside Matic midweek against Colchester, and I thought Andres Pereira had a pretty bad game. But I think we've got to move him on. I just don't think he's good enough to represent the football club. But you've got a lot of Manchester United fans, demanding him now out of the football club. Andres Pereira. Maybe Chong, maybe he's another one of the young upcoming players that needs to be moved on, because actually, his appearances have been limited this season. He hasn't played as many games to the extent as I thought he would do. Maybe Angel Gomez needs to be moved on. But I think overall, anyway, we've got to orchestrate on getting rid of more players next year. I still think, we need to get rid of another 4 or 5 more players because these are problematic players at Man United. Despite the fact, that a lot of players have left since Mulligan and Solskjaer's arrival. But I've got to say, I think, we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. I still believe, obviously, we need a change of management. I think, we need to get rid of our board because our board have been a liability for several years. I think, Ed Woodward's also been accountable, for many, many years, why we've been so inconsistent, So we still need to see a variety of changes at the football club. And, I did say, didn't I, good couple of results and that, doesn't change my perception regarding Solskjaer. I don't feel as though he's the right man to elevate Man United forward, but I want his managerial tenure to succeed at Man United. But like I said on recent videos, whether his managerial tenure at Man United succeeds or not, we'll never forget, what he has done for the football club because he was a great player for us for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance, and he's got that proven pedigree as a player. But as a manager, I think he's totally comparison because he hasn't really got that pedigree as a manager as Solskjaer. This is, only the third club he's managing now, Solskjaer. Obviously before he came to Man United, he was at Mould. Obviously, he won a couple of Norwegian titles with Mould. Before that, he was at Cardiff. He only enjoyed a very short tenure with Cardiff. His record at Cardiff was obviously, very, very bad. He got Cardiff relegated, and this is the explanation, why Cardiff relegated him. But, us getting rid of him now, wouldn't solve any problems at the football club. I think it would have been also beneficial if we'd have recommended a director of footballing during the course of the summer. Obviously, I did say, didn't I, that's one of the structural changes that we need at the football club anyway. But, there's some aspects of me, that do credit Solskjaer and that, because when he first got recommended in, he did say, that he did say, that everybody, would get their chances. Everybody would get their chances and not to express themselves, and everybody's been given their chances. He did confirm at the start of this season that the young players would all get given their chances, and they have done, to be fair. In some games, we've showed them a lot of tactical flexibility in that, and some games Solskjaer's got it perfectly right. But for the vast majority of this season, you've got to say Solskjaer's been tactically naive, so you can also say that's an element of concern, But I think, if we did win some silverware this season, whether it was the Carabao Cup, whether it was the Europa League, or whether it was both of them, I think it would restore winning mentality at Manchester United, because that's the only trophies I think we're possibly going to win either the Carabao Cup or the Europa League. I don't see us winning the FA Cup. We're definitely obviously not going to win the Premier League. So I think, that's the only chance of us winning many silverware this season. So a chance for us, winning many silverware this season and that. But like I said, we haven't got the structure anywhere to keep sacking managers and that. We're not known for a sacking club, despite the fact that we have sacked 3 managers since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, David Moyes was sacked after 10 months. He enjoyed the shortest tenure. He's enjoyed the shortest tenure at the club, since the Ferguson era, and that was one mistake Ferguson made, and the only mistake Ferguson made was recommending Moyes in. Obviously, he recommended him in at the time because they were both Scottish. Obviously, then Van Gaal got sacked after just over a year, despite the fact we won the FA Cup under his guidance. And obviously, we had Mourinho for 2.5 years, but I already explained a variety of reasons why it didn't work out under the Jose Mourinho era and that. But I've got to be honest, I haven't seen any improvements under Solskjaer prior to the 3-month period when he was the interim manager, and we've had the odd couple of periods here and there when he's been permanent manager when we've done well. But there hasn't been any improvements under Solskjaer really in what I saw under Mourinho, Van Gaal and David Moyes. But we've got to accept, we're never going to be the team that we was under Alex Ferguson. Solskjaer can't invoke Ferguson's legacy at the football club. I don't think any. I think regardless who our manager is, they'll never invoke Ferguson's legacy. And don't forget, recently Ferguson was talking about his legacy at Manchester United because he enjoyed 26, 27 years at the football club, and. But yeah, no, obviously, it's not long now until the January transfer window opens. It is, you know, around just under 2 weeks now. I think it is until the January transfer window opens, and it's good that we're making plans for January. Solskjaer is going to get given at least a couple more windows, to see who else he can recommend in to the football club. Obviously, Gary Neville has obviously, said from his perception that we need at least 2 signings in January, and he's actually, urged Solskjaer to spend money in January. And that Solskjaer recently confirmed that it's not guaranteed that we will make many signings in January, but he's looking to recommend 2 or 3 players in to the football club. But our board are determined to back him in the next couple of windows because the board realised that, they didn't back him enough during the course in the summer. I was reading reports not too long ago, and it says we're going to get around the £250 million spending spree. So this is what Solskjaer is going to get given to spend on recruiting new players into the football club. But I think for £250 million, we should be able to get around 3 or 4 players in, and that it's basically dependent on how we are with our recruitment. Are we going to get depends how we are. We're sensible with our recruitment. We're going to overpay for players, but next year we've got to address the deficiencies in the squad. We've got to get a couple of midfielders in because that midfield area is one of the priority areas where we need to strengthen up. Also, we need a couple of attackers, we need a right winger, and there's possibly, other areas in the squad as well that do need to be addressed in that. And like I said, we have got a lot of players on our agenda. According to recent reports, it's looking very, very imminent that we're going to sign Erling Haaland in January. I was reading recent reports about him yesterday, and he said that Dimitar Berbatov has urged us not to sign Erling Haaland. He's basically urged us to avoid the transfer. I think it did say we may have to pay Mini Raiola around £12 million to recommend Erling Haaland in. Whether Man United are determined to do this or not, I do not know. But he is one of our main priority targets. I think he's going to cost us in the region of around £76 million if we are to get him in January, that is. But then reportedly, we will have to loan him back to Red Bull Salzburg for the remainder of the season. But a lot of clubs have attracted their interest in Erling Haaland, including Juventus, Borussia Dortmund, Red Bull Leipzig. According to Fabrizio Romano, who's an Italian journalist, this is stemming from him. He said that, Juventus, Man United, Borussia Dortmund and Red Bull Leipzig have all placed their bids in for him. But more speculation was fueled regarding Erling Haaland because he recently signed a Manchester United shirt. And, Solskjaer last Friday flew out to Austria with Ed Woodward, to meet up with Erling Haaland to discuss a potential January transfer to Manchester United. And reportedly, Haaland had told Solskjaer that he's preference is Manchester United, so he wants to join the football club. He never mentioned that he wanted to join Dortmund, Leipzig or Juventus, when he met up with Solskjaer. But I've got to say, I think it will be very beneficial to recommend Erling Haaland in. He's obviously played under Solskjaer's guidance during his period with Mould. And I think Solskjaer is keen on a reunion with the player. Solskjaer was the man who gave him his debut at just, I think, the age of at the age of 16, or was it 17? He's now only 19 years of age, and he's been a revelation this season for Red Bull Salzburg as Erling Haaland. He's scored 28 goals in 20... What?
Yeah, turn light off in the bedroom when you come down. Charlie, have you got your text message?
No.
It's 70,000 today.
Yeah. Mm. 28 goals in 22 games competitions this season, so he's a prolific goal scorer. I think it would be beneficial for us to get another number 9 in. He's a player that can bring more players into play, and if he came to Man United and that, obviously it'd be a new area for him. He'd be in the Premier League era, he'd be playing amongst different players and that. But I think he'd be able to replicate at Man United what he has done with Red Bull Salzburg. So if we can get him in January. And, we can also get maybe Jadon Sancho in, I would be very, very happy because I think they both would be the right calibre players for the football club. But yeah, let's see what happens in that. We've got to address the deficiencies in the squad, but, we got 3 players for £150 million during the summer. We got Daniel James, and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire, and they've all enjoyed a fantastic start to their Manchester United careers. And you've got to say the 3 signs that were recommended in, have been our best players this season. They've definitely been our best players this season, so they haven't been accountable for any of our bad results and performances. But I think James has been a revelation. Fantastic player, supposed to be more effective from the left, but obviously we've played him on the right a few times. Some elements of his game need to improve. I think, he needs to improve his tracking back and maybe his crossing that needs to improve. But prior to that, I think, he does everything else right. And his valuation will persistently grow with Daniel James's if he keeps his consistency up. And Wan-Bissaka is absolutely immense. I think, he will be our full-back for the next decade. And Harry Maguire, you can say he has addressed our defensive deficiencies. We're still conceding goals and that in games, but I think we do look better defensively this season, than last season. I think we look better in the attacking third of the pitch, this season. Well, recently, we've looked better in that attacking third of the pitch and that. But there's been a lot of good individual performances recently. So yeah, guys, that's your Watford Man United preview. I obviously give you the news, didn't I, yesterday as well, regarding Mikel Arteta. He's set to be announced as Arsenal's new manager today. That was stemming from BBC Sport yesterday. Like I said, he's going to sign I think he's agreed a 3.5-year deal worth around £5 million a year in that. And I think Arsenal, obviously, City have now come to an agreement on a compensation. Arsenal will play around the 7-figure compensation to get him in from Man City. Obviously, yesterday morning, Mikel Arteta, give his farewell speech, to Man City, obviously, thanking them for, their time and that. Obviously, he was a coaching assistant at Man City for 3 years alongside Pep Guardiola and that. But he's Arteta the right man, to elevate Arsenal Football Club forward. Obviously, it's confirmed Lundberg will be taking over. Well, is there now on a temporary basis, but it's confirmed, he will still be in charge of Arsenal in their game against Everton. Is it tomorrow? I think it is. And then I think, but I think he's going to be appointed today. Anyway, similar sort of situation with Ancelotti. I think, Duncan Ferguson, he's going to be in charge, for their game against Arsenal. He's there on an interim basis. And it did say from Sky Sports early on this week that Everton should announce Ancelotti as their new manager he said either Thursday or Friday and that. Whether they announce him on Monday, probably they will. Ancelotti is obviously a 4.5-year deal worth around 11.5 million a year. So it's very imminent. He's going to Everton, So yeah. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. We'll be back with some more live videos very, very soon. Take care. God bless. I'll see you all again very, very soon, guys.